Welcome to Star Wars Timeline. Today is another Friday, and we're talking about the next 12th episode of The Bad Batch, Rescue on Ryloth. Now, this is not a huge surprise. Because of the way that the previous episode has been set up, we knew that we're going to come back to this planet and continue the story. So, the drama of the Syndulla family continues. Both Cham Syndulla and his wife are being imprisoned by the Empire, and Vice Admiral Rampart is accusing them of assassination attempt on Governor on Freetop. The populace of the Ryloth is assured that the senator is doing fine, he's recuperating, and what the Rampart is trying to do is continue to control and subdue the Twi'lek peoples, and he tells them, look, Empire's presence is nothing but the good thing for you, just listen to us, and that's it, that's the end of it. Meanwhile, Hera takes matters into her own hands. She is able to contact the Bad Batch through that frequency that Omega shares with her because of their budding friendship in the previous episode. So Hera makes that call and she says, look, my family's in trouble and I need help and I have nothing else, no one else to turn to. The Bad Batch and a Hunter as their leader are kind of hesitant to do that. They still don't know where they should be. The guys coming to the rescue for every little crisis and problems that Empire is causing for people of different planets. But Omega manages to convince them and tells them, look, this is what soldiers do. Anyway, they arrive on the planet, they formulate a plan. Meanwhile, something else is going on the planet, and we're introduced to a new clone, Hauser. And the things that have happened with him there, I will discuss a little bit later in this video when I talk about my impressions of it. But the team essentially manages to create a diversion. They attack the refinery, and the Empire sends all its troops and attention there. Meanwhile, they successfully rescue Cham Syndulla and his wife, and they're rescued. And it looks like this episode is setting up for something bigger. Of course, we end the episode on this very ominous scene where Crosshair personally asks the permission from Vice Admiral Rampart, saying that, look, give me the permission to go and hunt the Bad Batch, the traitors. And that's where the episode ends. Now let's talk about what I thought of this episode and where I think it will go in the future. First of all, I found the episode pretty straightforward in terms of what the story is, and it's totally fine with me. Not every episode needs a crazy plot twist or dramatic turn of events. We knew where this is leading, and as long as it's efficiently told, and we follow the episode, and it's exciting to see how things that happen do happen, and I think it was done very successfully here. Now, one of the cool new characters, or at least somebody that I don't very well remember from the Clone Wars, yes, we do remember that after episodes with Ryloth, there's still clone presence here, but now we meet this person, this Hauser, and this clone is somebody who seems to be also unaffected by their chips. That, you know, when the Order 66 was issued, all of the clones kind of like turned on the Jedi and killed them because that's what the Emperor planned all along. Not with Hauser, because we see throughout the episode, and even in the previous one, he's questioning Rampart's methods and he's questioning what the Empire is doing there, because that's not what he signed up for. And he actually says that by the end of this episode. Look, he drops his weapon and he kind of like submits to the authorities, and he said, I didn't sign up for this. I'm not here to bully and push over these innocent people. So I'm very intrigued by him. I'm very intrigued that he also doesn't obey the commands, which kind of creates a very dynamic contrast with Crosshair, and it makes me question, hold on a second, after the chips are activated, how long are their commands actually effectively controlling the clones? Because if Hauser has also had an installed chip, just like supposedly all the regular clones are, how come it's not working now? It certainly is working on the Crosshair, and it begs a very interesting and curious question where, hold on a second, maybe part of why Crosshair is the way he is because of his nature and not just the technology, not just the chip. Maybe partially he feels either betrayed or abandoned by the Bad Batch, that they didn't see things his way, and that's why he sees them traitors, as much as the reason that there's also this chip influencing his judgment. One of the coolest thing about this episode, I mentioned in my previous video that I really enjoyed the interaction between the kids. the young Hera and even younger Omega. And here, the fun thing happens that Hera flies for the first time. She talks about flying in the previous episode, and of course, because of the Rebel show, we understand that she will become a great pilot. But here, she tastes her first experience of flying, and it's no other than Omega who pushes her over the edge and gives her that experience and helps her out. They basically steal a ship, a shuttle, and it's Omega's idea because she's so daring, and she's like, we're doing this. We're not sitting in the back just because we're younger and all the big boys are there in the heat of combat and action. And I really appreciated that the children are given even bigger role in this particular episode. Once again, I think this show in general is charting some new territories. And here, I think it's the biggest appeal for our younger audience. Don't forget, as dark as the show gets sometimes, it's first and foremost designed for kids. And I can see myself as like a 11 or 13-year-old watching the show. I'm like, oh, cool. You know, Hera and Omega are there, and they're saving the day. And they're helping the Bad Batch in the most crucial way to say, like, okay, we're here. We're going to cause a major problem for the Empire while you guys go and rescue our, Cham Syndulla. And, of course, it was fun to see a continuing friendship with Omega and Hera. And I felt it's just such a sweet moment when Omega says, we'll see each other again, and Hera gives her that hug. Again, it's something that in the middle of a show that's supposed to be about war and darkness and betrayal, on all those very heavy themes, we see something light and joyous and fun of two young people associating with each other, sharing beliefs in goodness of people and fighting for what's right. And it's also an episode about two families. And it sometimes makes you almost forget that all clones are basically brothers. But Omega reminds us, she's like, yeah, I am like these clones. I am their sister, and they are my brothers. And it was just such a sweet moment while Hera is also dealing with her family. Of course, before all the dramatic stuff is going to happen between Hera and her father. But I don't want to jump ahead into the future. I imagine a lot of you guys, or some of you, have not seen the Rebels show, and I highly recommend you do that, after this season is over, to go and check out the Rebels show. So, in the end, what does the future hold? What do I expect to see in the show next? Omega says to the Bad Batch and to Hunter specifically, look, we're supposed to go and help. Yes, I understand it's dangerous, but that's what soldiers do. And once again, that particular line in this episode is foreshadowing what's to come in the future. Now, we know that the actual active rebellion is not going to start until 15 or 16 years after the end of the Clone Wars. We see the first earlier action that the first rebel cells start taking against the Empire in the Rebel show, where Ezra Bridger is like 15 or 16 years old. So it's much, much later when we actually see the rebellion. But this episode and this show provides that foundation. It says, the mentality that Omega has and that mentality that the Bad Batch team has, that, look, we didn't stand up for this. We're going to leave the Empire. And now Omega says, no, we don't just leave the Empire. We're supposed to help because that's what good soldiers do. So I felt that was a very cool thread, and I can't wait to see where the show takes us next. And Crosshair on a hunt. I'm very much looking forward to another showdown between Crosshair and his cunning and his intelligence versus his former friends. And for some reason, I keep having this scene in my mind where basically the confrontation between Crosshair and the team will become to such a climax that he will come away very harmed from it, or something will cause him to be very wounded, but the team will recover him. And they will take him and forcibly take away the chip from Crosshair. But that it will also provide this very, very uneasy conversation about who is Crosshair without that chip. Because once again, I want to reiterate, we met Hauser, this clone, who we have no idea what happened with this chip, but he's able to resist that Order 66 command, because at the end of the episode, he sees what's right, he understands that what the Empire is doing is not okay, and he willingly says, I'm not going to do that. Now, what's going to happen with Crosshair after that chip is removed? How much of his negative feelings or hurt that might be there towards the Bad Batch, who are abandoning him for not listening to him, for not being good soldiers and following orders, what's going to happen to his next? And I'm really eager to explore his character beyond, Crosshair, beyond the chip. So that's all, guys, for today. I really enjoyed this episode. I think each and every of the 12 episodes that we've seen so far provides something different, something interesting, and I really, really appreciated how the younger generation, Omega and Hera, were the heroes of this particular episode. Anyway, my name is Ben. I do Star Wars books and comic book reviews. I do character highlights, lore videos. I have a podcast. If you enjoyed my contents, please feel free to subscribe and support my channel, and I really appreciate your time. See you later, guys.